everyone. Welcome to Campus Conversations, a podcast series where we talk about all things interesting at MDC Padron's campus. My name is Oscar Linaz, and I have the privilege of being the host for this series. Today, we're going to be talking about work-life balance and mental health issues, which are so important, not only at a college campus, but in today's fast-paced life. So we have the honor of having one of our fantastic faculty members with us today, Dr. Manolo Garcia, who teaches psychology. So who better than to engage in this conversation with than Dr. Garcia? So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Dr. Ronez, for inviting me.
My pleasure.
To share my viewpoints.
So why don't we start a little bit about you? How did you end up in Miami-Dade College? How long have you been here?
Since as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be in a career where I can help people. And I think psychology was the best career line to do that. And so I've always wanted to be in mental health, be a psychologist. But then I had the fortunate opportunity to also embark on a teaching opportunity. And it was right here at the Padron campus. Back then, it was the Inter-American campus.
Been a while.
Yes, it has. In fact, even prior to that, it was just the Inter-American Center and Bilingual Center even before that. And I did not know how much I was going to really enjoy the classroom. I got the opportunity to interact with students, contribute to their education and their academic goals. And the rest is history. It's been 35 years, and I look forward to coming to work every single day, sometimes as if it was my first.
So it sounds like you have found that perfect work-life balance equation.
Fortunately say that I have. I have been able to balance my professional roles as an educator, as also as a clinical practitioner. But I've also learned to set boundaries, which I think is very important, between my professional role and my personal life.
How do you do that? Because I find that very difficult. Like, sometimes it's time to go home, but I'm still here.
Yes. It's not easy, but one of the things I would say is that you do have to set boundaries. I think that's the key word. And setting boundaries means that you have to define specific work hours. And if you're here on campus, you know that at a certain time, it's time to stop and head on home. If you're working from home, as I do sometimes with online classes, I also set that same time because that avoids work from home burnout. A lot of people don't realize that you can also burn out from working at home because you just cannot leave or release yourself from the professional task. So I make sure to do that. That's one of the more important things.
What tips or advice would you have for someone that has a great deal of guilt about leaving at that desired time? Because if you leave a lot of work behind, right? So how do you actually leave that behind and not take it with you and worry about it on your drive home while you're at home?
Well, that first has to start with you realizing that you can't get everything done in one day. I think you have to go back to that word balance, is to carefully look at the quantity versus the quality. And I've realized that I can be very productive, but only in a limited way if I try to do everything at one time. So I've realized that perhaps sometimes doing less, but doing it better and dedicating more of my time and my faculties, that the end result is going to turn out better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know, we of course we work with students, young people that are starting out in their professional career that maybe aren't as seasoned as you or I. What tips or advice would you have for them in terms of managing expectations or that anxiety that people have before an exam, or can I get everything done? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
College life is very stressful. Certainly, I can see that students are under a lot of pressure to perform, to maintain certain grades. And one of the things I tell students, as I also do with clients that I see, is to practice self-care. I think that's very, very important. And practicing self-care means to do things that allow you to release stress. It could be relaxing things like meditation. It could be yoga, but at the other side, it could also be aerobic type activities. Certainly, you want to make sure that you eat well, you sleep well, you do things that promote both physical and mental well-being. And physical and mental activity is very important, but you have to have that balance, because if not, then you're going to create a disequilibrium, mental and physical. So it's very important. And also, our mind is very powerful. It could be sometimes our best resources, but it can also sometimes act as our enemy if we try to be perfectionistic. And that also can contribute to burnout. Burnout sometimes is in the individual who wants to do everything perfect, or there are sometimes individuals who just cannot disconnect from work. Either way, it's going to lead to this overstressed, tense buildup of energy in the body, and eventually it's going to affect us health-wise, physically and mentally.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I've sort of struggled with is there's different phases in a day. So, for example, you wake up and you have things going on at home. Then the second phase is you get in your car or public transportation or Uber, whatever can, and you've got to deal with the traffic and the madness that ensues. And then you arrive to where you're going and the stressors that goes. What are your thoughts about how do you take a break between one and the other to readjust and recalibrate?
Mm. I try to divide my day into a number of little mini series events. And you're absolutely right. I get up, and so my focus is I'm going to have breakfast, and I'm going to get ready to face my responsibilities at work. When I drive into the parking lot, before I even got out of my car, I turn off the engine and I take a deep breath, and I clear my mind. I clear my mind from maybe the stressors of the traffic. I clear my mind from things that have been left from the day before. I now prepare myself for the task at hand. And I try to do that throughout the day. As soon as I get done with one class, I say, this one is done. Now I prepare for the next one. But there's a break in between. It's sort of like a little mini mental refresher. It does wonders if you do it regularly. You might see that you have an opportunity when you take these little breaks to reset and recharge. Very, very important. If not, we have that cumulative effect that starts building, and then that is when things may start not going so well in terms of our concentration and our mental clarity.
I love that. Can you give me an example of how you clear your mind between, when you said that you get to the car, you turn off your engine.
Mhm.
How do you clear your mind? Because sometimes these thoughts are racing, right?
They do. And the first thing I do, I think, is I take a deep breath. I close my eyes and I take a deep breath.
Okay.
And I remind myself, this is now where I'm at. I am at work, and I'm going to try to be the best a worker and the best employee, the best educator that I can be. And in order to do that, I sort of have to release myself from the stressors that got me, that I encountered during the day or in the morning, or even things that are lingering. I realize that this is the time now to focus on the task at hand. And so doing that regularly, the body gets used to realizing, okay, it's time now to focus on the present. And when I complete that activity, I also now close my eyes again and begin and get ready for the next task. And you do that throughout the day. And all it takes is sometimes just a minute or so. And you do realize that you do refresh yourself and you do come invigorated for the next task.
I love that. I think that is wonderful advice. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's been a joy speaking with you, listening to what you have to say. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and for joining us on this podcast.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime that I can contribute in a way that I know will benefit our students, even the staff that we have here, it is my pleasure to be part of that. So thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. And one last thing that I wanted to add is that here at the campus, we have single stop and we have mental health counseling for individuals that need it, individuals that may not be able to handle stress as well as we've been talking about. There are resources. So go on our website, ask an advisor, ask a professor. We'll get you to where you need to go. Thanks again for joining us. Oscar Loynaz, it's been a pleasure to have spent some time with you.